I love a simple tool that can transform a live stream easily, and I have my favorite one to show you today. The Advanced Mask plugin lets you turn boring cameras from this into this, or this, or this, or this, or even all of the above. It's easy and totally free. I'm going to show you how to do it today, so you know what? Let's get to it! All the plugins I talk about in this video are free, and there is a link in the description so you can download them yourself. Let's install the Advanced Mask plugin. Here is our Advanced Mask plugin, and to get this we're going to go to download, and you're just going to download the appropriate installer for your machine, Mac, Linux, Windows, or Windows. If you're using Windows, the Windows installer is much easier to use. You just click download, it will go ahead and download to your downloads folder. And we can go into our downloads folder and see it right here. We'll right click and we're going to go to extract, and we'll just click OK, and there it is. We can double click and we have our advanced OBS installer. We just double click on that and you're going to see a box that says yes or no. You can't see it because it's an administrative prompt, but just click yes, and then we're just going to go ahead and click install. Now I already have it on my machine, so it's not going to install for me. I'm also running OBS right now, but it's probably going to ask you for your directory. So just make sure you point it to the correct directory, which is OBS-Studio, and it's probably in your program files. And just click next through everything and it will be completely installed. Now you're going to know it's completely installed when you go into your OBS and you right click on anything, go to filters and click the plus, and you're going to see Advanced Mask right here. And that's how you know that it's definitely installed. Now I'm going to show you how to do all the stuff that I showed you in the intro. So you better buckle up. Now we're going to use a couple additional plugins today on top of the Advanced Mask. And that's just to help us out with some other effects and looks that we want. And also so that we can use our camera over and over again without affecting this camera that you're seeing right now. The first one that we're going to use is the source clone. Now these plugins install exactly like the Advanced Mask plugin I showed you before, and there are links in the description so you can download them and check them out. We're going to go into scene 1 right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to click the plus and we're going to go to our source clone. And so what source clone does is it allows me to use that camera in a different way so that we're not changing every camera in every scene. And you'll see what I mean in a second. So let's just call this mask cam, and what we're going to do is go ahead and select a source, and the source that we want to clone is going to be our video capture device, which is our main camera, and we can see it right there, and we want to use the audio, so make sure that's checked, and there we go. We're going to go ahead and right click, and we're going to go into filters, and we're going to go ahead and add our Advanced Mask, and there we go. So the Advanced Mask has all kinds of different effects. So we have shape and a rectangle, and let's see here. So there we go. Now you can see because I cropped this up, it's not centering. So we can just go ahead and uncrop it so it centers up. And so now we have our rectangle shape, and we can do a lot just with this. So we can move the center of our shape to anywhere we want. If we want to move our center up, we could do that. So there we go. We can place it pretty much anywhere we want. We can also rotate it. And we can adjust the width and the height. So we could go ahead and give it a 90-degree rotation and square the box up like that. And we can move the center of the frame anywhere we want. You can kind of already see. So we can also zoom in and out our camera in the box. This uniform and custom radius, so we can adjust the radius on our corners. So if we wanted our corners to be a little bit rounded, we can do that. Let's see, top left, top right, and then we could round this one up. So we can kind of give ourselves almost like a diamond shape there. And we are zoomed, which is why we're getting that weird thing. And we want to maybe rotate, move our mask down a little bit so it's totally in. There we go. So you can see that there's just all kinds of super awesome creative things that you can do. And that's just using the square. So we can go ahead and return this to defaults. And we can go up here and select another shape, a circle. And obviously the geometry center, you can move it around to wherever you want. So there we go. We can center it on us. We can change the radius. We can change the zoom. And obviously when you get past the normal zoom, it's going to stretch everything out. You know, feathering, inner, outer, middle. So we can feather the edges like that. I mean, that's just awesome. Let's feather our outer images, or outer edges. So there we go. So we can feather it out so it kind of blends into the background. Let's go and reset this again. And we're gonna go into the ellipse. Basically the same kind of thing. We can adjust the location. We can adjust the rotation of our ellipse so we get it, you know, like this. We can adjust the width and the height and the zoom, all exactly the same. And then we can also feather the edges on this, just the same as we did on the last one. So they have so many built-in things already. So we'll go with the polygon. You can see that it keeps the feathered edges that we set. We'll set that to none, and we can pick the number of sides. We can also select our radius, our corner radius, so we can round our corners. We can adjust the zoom. Of course, we can adjust our rotation. And of course, we can feather or non-feather it, do a star. And this is the same thing. We can adjust the rotation. We can adjust the number of points. We can adjust the outer radius. We can adjust the inner radius. And we can even round the corners off like that. Zoom us in and out just like before and adjust the rotation and all that fun stuff. And we can adjust the feathering on this one as well, so we can get some feathering on the outside of it. Now I think something like this looks a lot better when it's super sharp, but either way you can kind of go with whatever you want. You can make these masks pretty much whatever you want. It really saves time in creating your own masks. And the last one here is the heart. We can rotate it. We can do a corner radius so we can stretch it out. We can adjust the size of the heart. Of course, it has all the feathering as well. So that is exactly how the regular shapes work. And you can pretty much find any shape you want. So let's just stick with this. So we have this in our scene 1. We can make this as small as we want, and we can add another display item in here. So let's go with a display capture, and we'll just go ahead and select a display that we want to capture. There we go, and we'll make it full screen, and then we'll just put this below our mask. And you can see we can move our mask anywhere we want. But the beautiful thing is, if we look at our main camera, we still have our main camera, and that's because we've used our source clone. Now let me show you what would happen if we went and we did a filter on this, our main camera, and we added an advanced mask. So if we added an advanced mask, and let's just go with the shape, and we'll go with, let's go with something that's obvious. We'll go with a star, and we're gonna move the outer radius out. There we go. So we've got a star, and you're gonna see that this, when we change it, messes up this. You can see that it's putting the star on there and the heart. This camera now affects any other camera. So if I just went in here and I went to our video capture device and I just used our main video capture device, you can see it shows up as a star. So that's why we do the source clone. We do the source clone so that we could create whatever shapes we want with additional cameras, and we can do as many of them as we want. So if we go in here and we remove our advanced mask, and there we go, Now when we go back in here, our heart is the same as it should be. So if we go into here, and we go ahead and just remove our capture device, we can add another source clone, and we can call this one mask cam 2, and we can select our original source, which is that video capture device, and we want the audio. So boom, now we can have the audio, we have our mask cam. We can just right click on here, go to filters, and we can add another advanced mask to our image, and we'll go, in this case we're going to go with a polygon, and we will add a bunch of sides to this. There we go. That's going to work just for the purposes of showing you what I'm talking about. So there we go. On this scene we have that using our main camera, and we have this on this camera. So I can add in our screen once again and bring it below. I can put this mask camera up here. So now we've got this scene with the camera down here and this scene with the camera up here. If we have the move transition installed, we could just put our move on and it will just zip them across and even morph them from the one mask to the next. Now we've got 3 different cameras, really. We've got this camera, we've got this camera, and we've got this camera. They're all different shapes using the advanced mask. But what if we wanted to have a mask that moved? Well, we could do that. I'm just going to go ahead and click the plus here. We're going to add a dynamic mask. And we're going to click OK. And in this dynamic mask scene, I'm going to add a video that I created that we can use as a mask. So we'll call this mask. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and search for it. And you can see it right here. It's the cloud mask. I'm going to click open. And we're going to loop it and click OK. And there you go. You can see what this mask is. I'm going to right click on this mask, go to filters, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the green screen with the chroma key. So boom, close. And there you go. So this is what you're going to get. So if I go into scene 3, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and clone my camera again, and we'll call this cloud cam, and I'm going to click OK. And the source that we're going to use is that same video capture device. We want our audio, we'll click OK. So now what we're going to do is right click on our cloud cam, we're going to go into filters, and we're going to click the plus, and we're going to go to our advanced mask once again, and we'll call this cloud so we remember just in case. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the alpha mask, we're going to use a source, and we're going to select that source. In this case, I believe it's actually our mask, but if we go in here we could see, yes, it's our mask. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and select the source is the mask. And there we go. And you're like, man, I don't see anything. Well, if we go over here, you can see it for just a second. You can actually see it pop in there. That's what it's supposed to look like. Why is it doing that? Well, let's go into our dynamic mask and let's right click on it. And you see every time we come back in here, watch what happens. You see how this starts over again? That's because the mask isn't playing when we're not on this scene. So if we go into properties and we uncheck restart playback when source becomes active, then if we go in here, it's going to work perfect. Because what happens when you restart the playback is it stops playing when you're not in that actual scene. But now we are good to go. So now we have this really cool mask outside of us that's animated. We can go ahead and click the plus here, and we can go to our display capture once again, and we can just add in our display capture like that, and we could take our cloud cam and put it anywhere that we want, and there we go. So now we've got 3 different scenes with 3 different shapes of mask, and you can see that you can use videos, you can use just the static mask, whatever you want. So if we wanted to go ahead and use another mask, let's call this spiky, and we'll click OK. And so now what we're going to do is click the plus, and we're going to go into our media source, and let's call this spike left, or we'll call it spike C, and click OK. We're going to browse, And we've got our spike mask C clockwise, and click OK, and we want to loop this, and of course we want to uncheck restart playback. So there we go. You can see our mask. We're going to right click on that, and we're going to go into our filters on our mask, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove it with the chroma key. Now I just basically created this really simply. I created the actual shape with the green background, and then I just rotated it in DaVinci Resolve, exported it as a video, and that's how we get that. So now we can create another scene. We'll call this one scene 4. We'll go ahead and click the plus, and what we're going to do is we're going to add another source clone, and this one will be spiky cam, and we'll just go ahead and use our video capture device once again with the audio. Click OK. Now we can right click on here, go into filters. We're going to click our filters. We're going to go to our advanced masks. Click OK. And we're going to go ahead and use another source. That source is going to be Spike C. And there we go. So now when we close it, you can see that we've got it going that way. Let's do another Spiky 2. S-P-I-K-E-Y 2. Just so you can see that you can apply masks on top of one another. We're going to click the plus, and we're going to add another media source, and this one is going to be Spike CO, and we'll click OK. We're going to go and get our counterclockwise spiky. We want to loop it, and we want to uncheck that. Click OK. Now we're going to right click on here, and we want to go into our filters, and what we're going to do is go ahead and click the plus, and we want to add our chroma key. Click OK and close. So now we've got another spike. So when we go back into our scene 4, we're going to add a media file. So we're going to go ahead and click the plus, and we'll call this BG for background. And you can use an image source or a video file or whatever you want. We're going to use a video file. Let's use this one here. It's just a simple file. We want to do the same thing, restart when playback becomes active. Click OK. And that's what this file looks like. We're going to move this behind our spiky cam. And then what we're going to do is we're going to right click on this one, and we're going to go into filters. Click the plus. We're going to go to our advanced mask, and we're going to click OK. And then here, we're going to change it from shape to source. And we're going to change our source to the Spike CO. So there you go. We've got the other mask. And we can click close. And you can see that mask moving behind the first one. So we'll select the spiky cam. And we'll kind of adjust this down a little bit and center it up. And I chose a poor selection for our rear mask. So what I'm going to do is go into the background. We're going to go into properties, and I'm going to choose another file here. Let's go with, we're going to go with this crazy stained glass one, since I know it's pretty easy to see. And we're going to loop it, and we're going to click OK. And there we go. So now you can see that that one is rotating in the background. If I move it, you'll see. There you go. So that's what we have on the back one. And we can adjust the size of either of these, and then what I can do is right click, go to transform, and we can go to center to screen, and there we go. So now we kind of have the two things working. It's a little busy. You could choose different videos, but the point is you can stack masks on top of masks. You can make them move. You can do the same thing with an image. We're going to go, instead of shape, we're going to go to image. And we're going to go ahead and select an image. Boom. So you can see what this looks like. If I open up that mask, that's what this looks like. Black outline, white center. And so when you load it in there, that's what you get. We can click close, and there we go. So now we have this flaming little outside, kind of like a crown sort of mask, and it's a static image. And so now you can see what a ridiculously powerful tool this can be. And if you use it in conjunction with other amazing plugins, you can do even more. So we've got our cam mask here. We can right click on that and go into filters, and we can go ahead and click the plus, and we can add a drop shadow to this using the Stroke Shadow and Glow plugin. Again, link in the description. And you can see this puts a little shadow on it. We can adjust the intensity of the shadow. We can adjust the light angle so it will move that shadow around our object. We can adjust the shadow distance, and we'll turn down the intensity, and we can adjust the size, and there we go. We get that little bit of a blur. And I really love how this looks. It just adds so much depth to your scene. It makes it look like your camera's actually physically placed on the scene. So there you go. Instead of a static scene, you've actually now got that drop shadow. If we go over here and we right click on our mask cam and we go into our filters, we could go ahead and click the plus. We can add a glow, or let's just add a stroke. For those of you who don't know what stroke is, it's pretty simple. We can add a white outline to it, and we can adjust the size of the stroke. We can even offset it so it's a little bit off of our camera. We can change the color, so if we wanted to make this bright red, we can do that. And there we go. And now you can see what that looks like. Or what we can do is go into something like this, and we can add a glow. I'm going to right click on our background, go to filters, then we're going to click the plus, and we're going to go and we're going to add a glow, and we'll click OK. We want outer glow. I'm going to change this because this uses less clock cycles, and we're going to adjust the size. Right now our glow color is white, so if we adjust the size up, you can see that it glows. We can adjust the intensity. What I want to do is change this up to maybe a yellowish color like that, and there we go. So now when we go back out here, you can see what that does to that. This creates an incredible way to have all kinds of different types of cameras in your live stream that you can use. And you know, even if you're just using the standard settings like the heart or the octagon or whatever, you can create so many different awesome camera masks so that your stream never has to look like the other guy's stream. It can always be something unique and creative and fun. It doesn't cost anything. It's pretty awesome. How do you think you would use these tools in your live stream? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to learn more about the Stroke, Glow, and Shadow tool, check this video out. If you have a question about anything you saw today, you can always pop by my live stream every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I answer all of your questions. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks to help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Feyrer Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.